Hello friends, and welcome to today's video where we're going to talk about ZEROBASEONE's Youth in Shade, and also before we continue this, I must give you the warning, I call them Z-Bone. I'm not really going to be sorry about that. I think it's fun because it's like ZB1, and if you spell it out, it's Z-Bone, so like, I've been referring to them as Z-Bone ever since the name was announced, and I will be referring to them as such in this video. So like, if you hear me start talking about someone named Z-Bone, just know it's them. Anyway, just to go over how this video is going to work, I'm going to run through the track list of this album. I'm going to give you my thoughts on each song, and then I'm going to give the album a score out of 10 at the end. However, I do have some disclaimers before we continue. Disclaimer number 1, I've heard this album once so far. The title track I've heard twice, but I've heard the album once so far, so my opinions on all of these songs very much may change over time. Second disclaimer is, of course, my standard one. Everything I say in this video is just my opinion. You do not have to agree with my opinion because, as the mug always says, music is subjective, and that is great. Okay, now that we have all that out of the way, we can get started, and first up, we have the first song, Back to Zero Base, and it's good. I thought it was a great opener, and it got me hyped for the rest of the album. Also, as a song, it was quite enjoyable. I liked the verses, the background music was great, and the chorus, loved. Like, this chorus did have some demonic effects on me. I was weirdly into it, a little too much even, maybe a little bit. But also, I'm not going to complain because I did enjoy it a lot. Anyway, next up we have the title track, which is In Bloom, and it's great. It's not like this groundbreaking debut song. It's not on that level, but it is better than what a lot of boy groups are doing lately. But let's actually discuss the song. Right off the bat, we have the background music, and it slaps. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I also really liked the verses, and not just because there were no raps, although admittedly this album very light on the raps, and I'm very much a fan of that. However, there were other reasons I liked the verses, the primary one just being that they hit a lot. The bridge, however, did have the raps, and they were fine. They were fine. I think the song would have been better without them. However, they didn't bring it down by that much, so it's not that deep. As for the pre-chorus, I would say it's probably the weakest part of the song, if you ask me. It's not that it was bad. It wasn't. I just wasn't a huge fan of it. However, I did appreciate how it slowed things down before we got into the chorus. And speaking of the chorus, this chorus is immaculate. My jaw dropped the first time I heard this chorus. And not just because I first heard it in the music video, and before the first chorus in the music video, there's this like really long pause. But it was an experience. I think it's amazing. I loved it. Big picture, this isn't the best debut song ever though. Like, it's good. I liked it. But it's not, like, even amongst the Mnet groups, like the Produce groups and then the Planet groups, it's not the best thing I've ever heard. It's not the best debut song amongst these groups. But it is quite good, and it does have me curious to see where Z-Bone is going to go from here. On to the next song, which is New Kids on the Block, but, like, Kids has a Z in it. And that opening, can we talk about the opening for a minute? That opening background music in particular was a moment. I loved it. It fucks hard. The background music throughout the song is great, don't get me wrong, but that opening got to me in an abnormal way. Like, I restarted this song 6 times just to hear that opening background music. As for the verses, they're solid. I think the first one is a good bit better than the second one, but I did still enjoy both of them to a certain extent. The pre-chorus, meanwhile, that was my favorite part of this song. I just think this is probably the perfect pre-chorus in a certain extent. Like, the background music is great, it bangs, and it perfectly builds to the chorus. And the chorus itself is great too. I would say I was jamming, but it was 6:55 in the morning, and I only really show emotions for songs before 10 a.m. if I love them. I didn't love this song, but I was jamming in the way I jam at 6:55 a.m. Moving on, next up is And once again, the opening to the song is great. However, unlike with New Kids on the Block, the rest of the song wasn't really on that level. Like, it wasn't a bad song. I enjoyed it to a certain extent. However, I was expecting a very different vibe from the opening. And what we got, while fine, it's not bad, it's a bit generic. I will concede, Z-Bone doesn't have a distinct sound yet. Like, they just debuted. There's no way for me to be like, oh, like, this sounds like a Z-Bone song. This sounds like something that's, like, very distinctly them or something that's very differently them. However, this song sounds like something any group could do. Like, literally any boy group could have done this song, and that's always a bit of a miss for me. That said, I feel like this is one of those songs where if you just turned your brain off and listened to it, it's probably a very enjoyable listening experience. However, as a more active listening experience, it's fine. We have reached the penultimate song, which is Our Season, and it's pretty good. The verses, for the most part, I enjoyed them, and I liked the pre-chorus. However, the part that really stood out to me was the chorus. Something about this chorus just got me. It spoke to my very spirit. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, it got me. Also, the bridge had a Messy Boots feel to it almost. I can't explain it. Please don't make me try, but all you need to know is that I enjoyed it. Okay, last but not least, we have the official John House solo, which is always. Now, for those who don't know, I am a John House stan. He was my favorite of the members that we actually got in Z-Bone. And I did like him a lot, like, during Boys Planet, but, like, of the actual members of Z-Bone, he's definitely my favorite. Also, because I crave chaos, I do also feel the need to point out that the bestie was a Sung Hanbin stan. So, I feel minor pride that my man won. Anyway, the song's great, if you were wondering. The verses are both really good, however, the lack of a pre-chorus does, to a certain extent, make me irrationally angry. But it's fine, because the chorus itself is so good that I don't care. Like, potentially controversial opinion, I don't know. I haven't been on Twitter yet today to, like, see the thoughts on the album. But if you ask me, this is the best chorus on the album, by, like, potentially quite a significant margin. This chorus is just, it's the perfect chorus. It is immaculate, and I loved it. I do have some complaints about the song, though, that do sort of go hand in hand. The first one being the lack of a pre-chorus, the second one being the runtime. This song is very short, and I feel like they go hand in hand because if it had a pre-chorus before both of the choruses, it would have stretched the song out just a little bit longer and not made it feel like it was over so quickly. But that's all I have to say about the album. So with that, it is score time. And overall, I'm going to give it an 8.8 out of 10. I did enjoy every song on the album. However, I didn't love any of them, which isn't ideal. However, none of them were bad either. So yeah, 8.8 out of 10. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to comment your thoughts on this album down below. Let me know what your favorite song is. You can also like and subscribe if you want to or don't. I will be okay either way. And if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Twitter at s_albumreviews. I'll link that in the description. And yeah, thank you again for watching. Bye!